Let's briefly talk about what mediation is and how it is used in family law. Depending on your court, you might have to go to mediation at some point in your family law case if you don't settle it on your own. So, mediation is where a neutral third party comes in and helps kind of shuffle offers in between you, and a really good mediator will try and help you come up with solutions to settle your case. Courts like you to try and settle as much of your case before going to a final trial because the court doesn't want to be deciding things if those are things that you and your co-parent can decide on. So there is such a thing as having a partial agreement where you agree on some things like property, but not the child support or other things. So it's possible to completely resolve your case in mediation or at least solve it partially. Now, a mediator isn't just anyone. They have to have certain training and a certificate in order to be able to do mediation in your family law case. There are both non-attorney mediators and attorney mediators, and there's benefits to both. Typically, non-attorney mediators are a little bit cheaper, and attorney mediators are more experienced in the law. Maybe they're really familiar with the judges in your area and can help kind of advise and come up with solutions based on their experiences with the courts. Importantly, mediation is confidential, so you're able to make offers and try out creative solutions without worrying about your co-parent or the other attorney bringing it up at a later point. Like, it cannot come back up in trial. For example, you offered A, B, and C at mediation, but now you're asking for something else. That cannot happen. Everything's confidential. They cannot subpoena the mediator to testify at trial. There are very few exceptions, such as for child abuse and elder abuse, which is common sense, but everything else stays confidential. Further, if you settle certain parts of your case or your entire case through mediation, it should be harder to change your orders in the future because there's exchanges, kind of like a contract, for getting that order. And so there are certain protections for you settling your case in a mediated settlement agreement. So this is just basic information. A lot of people don't know what mediation is, especially if you're new to the family law system. And I do find this a little problematic because sometimes mediation could be the first stop in your family law issue, and it could preserve some of the co-parenting and other relationships that you have without it getting really ugly in court. So yes, you can start with a mediator instead of starting through a high conflict type of divorce. You can mediate divorce, child custody, just basically anything that you're asking the court to take up, you can mediate it. And if you settle your case through mediation, 9 times out of 10, it is going to be substantially cheaper than going through the whole trial process. So at my office, I'm a mediator as well as my associate attorney, Eleanor. Eleanor is really, really good at mediations. She's really good at coming up with creative solutions and keeping people on track. I enjoy mediations and coming up with creative solutions. I do get hired privately quite frequently to mediate cases in my area that I am not an attorney on because I'm very familiar with certain courts and how they rule. So we will be adding a part to our website where you can just ask for a mediation to start with, and you can hire me as your mediator. Both you and your co-parent can come in and say, look, we're just going to get this mediated. Alicia's going to be, the middle point and see if we can get this settled. So it's hard to communicate and educate people on what mediation is and teach them that they can start there rather than in there. And if you start there and you can settle your case, y'all, we are talking about a fraction of the cost of a high conflict divorce.